Hey y'all, it's me Yate, and I am back again with a review of Insecure Season 4, Episode 3. So we are 2 months away from the block party, and things are getting a little bit more spicy. So we definitely are seeing a lot more interpersonal interactions between the characters, and we finally see Issa's mom, which is kind of cool. And let me just get into it. So one of the things that I think is highlighted even more, like I feel like what they've been doing is really building on the tension between Issa and Molly, and in this episode I really felt it, and I really felt like it was me going through it with my friend, the way Issa and Molly have been interacting. So Issa and Molly, you see them at the grocery store, and Molly's getting ready to buying ingredients to make some dip for her family's Thanksgiving. And it's nice to see her and Issa doing an activity together, because so far, they really haven't been interacting as much and like alone. So it was really cool to just see them together. However, in that interaction at the grocery store, they start sniping at each other again. Molly asks Issa if she should invite Andrew to Thanksgiving, and Issa's like, you guys have only been dating for 2 to 3 months. Don't be like old Molly and scare him off. And I was like, oh, like Issa, that was kind of a low blow. I kind of felt like she could have very easily just said, I don't know if it's a good idea, but if you want to, you should. Like, there's just so many other ways to say what she said, and it just like highlighted the tension between them. And then Molly hits back at her like, yeah, well, at least I'm not like, I wasn't sleeping with someone for toiletries and weed. And I was like, oh my god. So in this interaction, they acknowledge that they probably should talk, and it seems that Issa normally goes over to Molly's house for pie. So they agree, okay, we're gonna have a discussion when we have pie together. So that's that. We also realize that Molly still hasn't forgiven her dad for cheating on her mom like years ago. So Molly's definitely been dealing with that, and we see it in the episode, when Molly goes home to like start prepping for Thanksgiving. You can see she's giving her dad the cold shoulder. And when they're supposed to play, was it Boggle or like whatever game they're supposed to play together, you could see she didn't want to be on the same team as him. And rightfully so, her brother called her out and was just like, you know what, like this didn't happen to you, it happened to mom. So like you don't have a right to punish dad over and over again for something that's already been like acknowledged. They've already worked through it and they're good. And I thought that was necessary, because I think Molly, as we know, like really struggles with relationships, and she really held her parents' relationship in high esteem. So for her to find out that her dad had cheated on her mom at some point or another really shook, I think, her like hope in terms of finding a partner. So her brother saying that she was able to come back, give her dad a piece of pie, and they're able to like play the game together. So I was really happy that worked out. Molly's mom also pointed out that if you wanted to invite Andrew, yeah, Issa had said that it was too soon, but if he's into you, then he would have come and we would have been on our best behavior. So I also we're kind of seeing how Molly is, I think, realizing that some of these things she needs to make decisions on herself. And like we all have friends, best friends, just people that you trust to give you an honest opinion. And sometimes you're so used to them having like a good opinion, or you're so used to getting their thoughts on things, that you find it difficult to make a decision on your own. And I think here you kind of see Molly being like, you know what, like, yeah, maybe I should have just brought him, because that's what I wanted to do. And then through that interaction, Issa like bails on Molly, so they don't even have the discussion. And Molly's just like, do you? And I kind of felt her there. Like, yes, Molly is really annoying, and I do feel like she's been trying. And I feel like Issa not putting in that effort is kind of like a slap in the face, because they already acknowledge there's a problem. So Issa like avoiding talking about it doesn't make that problem go away. And it also, as a friend, it like seems like she really doesn't rate Molly that much in that sense. On the flip side, Issa and her brother are supposed to go to Thanksgiving with her mom and her partner Stanley's family. And, you know, when they arrive, they see an ambulance, so they freak out. And it turns out Stanley slipped on some gravy. Like, I mean, okay. And, you know, Issa's mom is definitely one of those prayer warriors. She's like, you know, God didn't take him out. We praise God. So, you know, I'm happy. So, you know, they're like, okay. And the mom's like, you know, stick around. Stanley's kids are going to be here. And Issa and Amal are like, nah. And they dip to go get Mexican. And so, you know, you really see Molly, you really see Issa and her brother really bonding. Like we've seen him all throughout the seasons, and he's really funny, and he definitely trolls Issa like a younger sibling would. So it's really, really nice to see them together. But he had a lot of really insightful things to say, and you know, I think that is kind of, again, even on Issa's side, she would normally be having these, you know, conversations with Molly. So her leaning on someone else, you kind of see that growth there as well. And Amal admits that, you know, growing up, he never felt comfortable at Thanksgiving because he was gay, and you know, he invited his boyfriend one year, and it was like so uncomfortable for him. His mom had this like crazy prayer about, you know, man and woman, child and whatever. And he's like, you know, it was uncomfortable because our aunt was like sleeping with a married man and no one had a comment about that. But me having a boyfriend was like the end of the world. So, you know, and Issa never realized that. So it's like kind of nice to have that kind of discussion with a sibling, because you think you know everything about them. They've been with you, you know, their whole life. And then you are exposed to the fact that, yo, like people have been going through it. And, you know, clearly Amal's in therapy, and he does acknowledge it later in the episode, but it's good. You know, he does talk about the fact like you don't have to do something just because it's expected of you. You know, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, and you don't have to do it. And on Issa's end, earlier in the episode, we see her at a coffee shop, and Lawrence shows up, and you know, they just fall back into their old patterns, having like lots of jokes, and you know, Canola oil rolls up, and she's just like, what's going on here? What's so funny? And there's like nothing worse, I'm not gonna lie, than when someone fucking does that shit. Like, you roll up, we're obviously having a laugh, and it's like, what's so funny? Like, it never works out well, girl. Like, just, you should have just been like, oh, hey, how's everything going? So, you know, Issa realizes how awkward it is, and she tries to exit real quick, and of course stumbles in an Issa way because she had just ordered food to eat there. And she's like, yeah, I'm about to head out. And, you know, they're like, your order for here? And it's just like, oh, Lord, like, bye. But, you know, when she's leaving the cafe, she kind of like looks over and sees like Canola and Lawrence all hugged up, and it's just like, dang. And, you know, when she's having dinner with Amal, you know, she brings that up. She's like, you know, I saw them together, and it feels like she's getting all of the benefits that I didn't get. You know, she was with Lawrence for like 5 years, and he was a bum in those 5 years, and you know, she feels like she really like helped him and supported him and like built him up, only for them to break up, and now some other person is like getting the best of Lawrence in her opinion. And you know, Amal's like, you know, that's a real feeling, and you guys haven't been broken up for that long, and it's all right to feel that way. And you know, Issa's been being very mature and like handling the situation really well. And so I totally like, I was wondering too how she could be so like blasé about it, but you know, the girl needs to get her bag. The block party is really close, and she's just trying to get through it as well as she can. And so I really kind of, again, I love that interaction between the two of them. Again, it's nice to see her being honest and like really opening up to someone, especially her brother, whom we all enjoy and love. So yeah, that was, I mean, I felt it in my heart. Now, can we talk about Wasteman's Lawrence? Honestly, like, again, I am tired of this guy, but this episode, I did feel him on a couple of points. His part of the episode starts out with him, you know, making a pitch at work. It's clear that he wants to get a promotion, and guy, I have been there when you're trying to think of what you can say to like illustrate how well you've done and how much you've helped the company and blah, 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 blah. So I really felt him in that moment, just being in the mirror like that. And then Condola's alarm went off, and it's like one of those really like they're the ones that when you wake up, you're like, whoa, like, it's really jarring. And I'm also one of those people that has multiple alarms, so I kind of felt Lawrence in that way. I felt like that's kind of like how Boo is. He'll be sleeping and my like third alarm will go off and I'm still in bed. So yeah, so anyways, Canola and Lawrence are, you know, canoodling in bed pre getting ready for work. And you know, Lawrence invites her to like his friend's Thanksgiving thing, and then she's kind of like, well, I'm actually doing a Friendsgiving thing on my end. And Lawrence is like, oh, okay, like, do you want me to come to that? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, Lawrence, like, read the room. She did not invite you. There's nothing worse than inviting yourself to something. But, you know, you can tell, like, Lawrence is really into her. I don't really know. I feel like, and it's been said before, but I think Lawrence, like, Canola and Issa are very similar. And I think Lawrence likes that about Canola and that she's, like, together. And almost like it's like he's upgrading in a way, like an upgraded Issa. So I think like he's just like, yeah, why wouldn't she want me to come to Thanksgiving? Like, I'm a catch. And it's like, oh, you're a waste, dude, but whatever. So you know, Lawrence meets up with Chad and he's just complaining about the fact that, you know, earlier that day he found out that their company is laying people off, and he's like, yo, but it's like, I can never have it all together. Either like my relationship's okay but work's bad, or work's great and my relationship is shitty. And you know, Chad's just like, you know, man, like, at least you still have a job. I haven't sold a house in like a month. And then Lawrence is like, so why'd you buy this new Land Rover? And he's like, well, I have to keep up appearances, you know, like people can't know that I haven't sold a house in a month. And that was really interesting too, because it's kind of just like how much of what we do is like a true reflection of what's going on and what isn't. And you know, I like Chad because even though he can be like really annoying, he also does spit some facts once in a while, and they're in the most Chad way, of course, but he makes sense. And it's like, you know, I think as a real estate agent anyways, like your appearance makes a huge difference. Like, it's just like you're selling someone something that's like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Like, I think they kind of want you to look like you know what you're doing. So I don't know, unless they're just so rich that they don't fucking care. I don't have a house. I'm not even close to that shit, so who knows? But yeah, so that was like a cute interaction. But let's get to the dinner, because this is really where Lawrence shows his whole ass. So, you know, he rolls up to the Thanksgiving dinner. Canola mentioned earlier her sink wasn't working. He like tries to fix it on the low with like a YouTube tutorial. Of course, that doesn't fucking work. But you know, as the Friendsgiving's going on, Canola's two friends are, you know, they're engaged and they're looking for a venue, and she's like, oh, you can just, you know, try an art gallery, you can dress it up, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, yeah, like, what are you, like, that's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, you should plan it. And she's like, keep me the hell away from that. Like, she's like, I don't even want to have anything to do with weddings. I never want to get married again. Put me in the overflow section if you invite me. And I'm like, dang, like, she is not down with the wedding thing. And you can see Lawrence's face and body language is just like, what, girl? Like, you don't never want to get married? And I'm like, whoa, Lawrence, you're looking at her like you want to get married to her? Like, y'all just started dating? So one of Canola's friends is like hella drunk and like laughing her ass off at everything, and Lawrence is like, yo, I'm gonna go get some more drinks, and she decides to follow him. So she's like, oh, fill me up. So he decides that this is the time to find out the tea on Canola. So he's like, so the girl's just like, yeah, Canola, you know, we're so happy she's seeing someone, you know, after her husband left her, she was feeling so low, and to see her, you know, out here just having fun and being loose, it's great. And Lawrence is like, oh, really? So after everyone leaves, you know, he's helping Canola tidy up. Condola's like, oh, you know, thanks for coming. You were a great co-host. And she's like, but you know, you invited yourself. And I was like, yo, Canola, like, I feel like Canola was feeling a way that he invited himself. And he's like, what? She's like, yeah, you know, you invited yourself. And he's like, well, you weren't gonna invite me? She's like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter now, whatever. And then he's just like, oh, like, you know, I feel kind of surprised when you said you don't want to like have a family again. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know, you said you didn't want to get married again. She's like, well, yeah, I mean, I literally just got divorced a year and a bit ago. Like, I'm definitely not looking to get married now. And then Lawrence is all like, oh. And it's just like, Lauren's like, where did you come from? She's like, and he's like, do you still have feelings for your ex-husband? And she's like, what does he have to do with anything? Which is true. It's like, where is all this shit coming from? And then she's just like, well, if anyone should be worried about an ex, it should be me. And Lawrence is like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, you and Issa. He's like, yeah, well, I broke up with her. And she's like, yeah, because she cheated on you. He's like, yeah, well, I decided to leave. And she's like, well, if Issa hadn't cheated on you, would you still be together? And he's just like, what? Like, he's just like, ah. You can tell he's not used to getting these, like, he's like literally being bombarded. Like, Canola had her foot on his neck. And he's just like, I don't know. And it was just like an awkward moment, but that scene looked so good. Like the way it was shot in her kitchen and they're on opposite ends and shit. I was like, dang. But like, Lawrence needs to simmer the fuck down. Guy, you literally have only been broken up with Issa for what? Let's say like 4 months, 5 months. You guys are obviously in the same friend circle, so like you see each other often. There's clearly, you know, it's awkward whenever Canola, like the three of them are together. So it's just like, yeah, like her point is more valid than yours. Like you're out here trying to flex like you are over Issa, there's no issues. But I mean, 2 Tuesdays ago, you were literally telling her not to tell Canola, not to talk about you, and like not to bring him up in conversation with Canola. So I mean, yeah, he's really, really, really doing the most. I don't think him and Canola really are supposed to last that long anyways, nor do I think him and Issa should get back together. But of course, because Lawrence is Lawrence and he's a waste youth, he, you know, is on Instagram later on after he leaves Canola's house, looking at all their friends, you know, Insta stories. So you see Kelly is still with her aunties, and like Trina from Issa's apartment rolls up with a drink and her son. You know, you see Tiffany and Derek, you know, Tiffany's passed out with her food and Derek's all like, yeah. See Chad and Leah, and you know, Leah is not having it as usual. And then he stumbles upon Issa's story, and you know, Issa and her brother are at the Mexican restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And so he sends a reaction with like a smiley face or like the crying, laughing face. And then you see Issa's bubble comes up to respond, and then Case of the X comes on. And if you guys remember that song, well, you know some foolery is about to happen. So number one, you guys already know, I think Lawrence is hella waste. I do not want him and Issa back together again. I think Issa is doing better for herself and does not need Lawrence. But you know, exes love to do that shit. And so I'm like hoping against all hope that they do not hook up. But who the hell knows? Like I am worried. I really am, because you know they have feelings, and there's lots of feelings there, and I can see Lawrence, you know, hooking up with Issa just because to kind of prove a point in a way, to whom I don't know. But yeah, so I cannot wait until episode 4. Honestly, this episode felt really long, even though it's the same 30 minutes as every other episode. I'm actually really curious, anyone that's like in film or like anything like that, like how are they able to make some episodes feel like a blink and some feel like eons? Like it's really, really cool. And honestly, I feel away. I really do. But yeah. Lawrence and Canola, I don't really see that lasting. I really hope, however, it does end. It does not affect Issa and Canola, because I think they work well together, and you know, Issa can use Canola as a person to kind of help her get to her next level, whether, you know, that's doing more events or just like introducing her to other people. So I really, really hope that works out. Issa and Molly, I think they're just gonna keep crossing wires until something crazy happens. I really hope whatever does happen, again, doesn't affect the block party, but I'm so curious to see how it unfolds. And yeah, even the tertiary characters, so we haven't seen much of Kelly's like life as yet, so I hope we find out more about her. I really like Kelly's character, but yeah, like how is she doing in this? And then finally, if you like watched the episode live, you see that Tiffany finally has the baby. So I'm really excited just to see how all of, you know, the crew interact with that. But yeah, like I'm really excited for next episode as per usual. And thank you guys for sticking around to listen to this review. But yeah, all these people are just doing the most and I am worried. On a other note, before I head out, I just love the outfits that have been happening in terms of the ladies. Like Lawrence, that shirt was just, it was doing a lot, and I thought it was like a nice shirt, but also like just kind of too much for the setting. But hey, whatever. Like I don't like you, so who cares? So the costume designer slash like stylist for the show is I'm gonna put her tag. It's like Shinot is her tag. It's like SHINOT. Anyway, she actually does a recap of the episode, the clothing in the episode. So if you go to her page, you can see like all the brands where she got the clothes. And I've checked them out. Some of the brands, hella expensive because Hollywood, but some of them are accessible. So you might be able to get Canola's like two-piece short set. It's very like 60s, or like Issa's like yellow like set, or Molly's like jeans or whatever. So I'm gonna tag her in the description as well, because I think it's a great resource if you're someone who's really been enjoying the clothing in the episodes. She will like post a summary. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this review, and I will see you soon. Ciao!